Pokemon Phax. Porygons are the first artificial Pokemon created by the brilliant minds at Silphco. It was their first attempt at creating a completely virtual life form, which explains the rudimentary design. At first glance, they look like a bunch of ducks with tank treads made out of blocks because they were limited by the technology of the time. They only had so many pixels to work with and were hampered by some design flaws which caused the Pokemon to emit blinding lights from their bodies. Kids loved them, and they immediately flew off the shelf. The popularity of the Porygons ramped up productions, and it looked like Silphco was well on their way to becoming a giant in the industry. Unfortunately, the design flaws of the Porygon had an adverse effect on children, causing them to have seizures. This negative press forced the company to recall all of their stocks and it nearly bankrupt their business. Despite all efforts to correct their mistake, parents refused to purchase the revamped Porygons. All the unsold copies were transported back to the warehouse, only to collect dust and take up valuable space. Silphco had to restructure their departments and shut down the Porygon division. Thousands of workers found themselves unemployed after years spent on creating something beautiful, but the market made it clear that they weren't interested. This idea would not be visited again until Silphco released Master Balls on the market and made nearly $250 million in the first week. Using this momentum, some of the people within the company started pushing hard to bring back the Porygon project. After much reflection, the head of Silphco finally gave them the green light. They negotiated for months and received a third of the budget of the first Porygon model, which wasn't ideal. But they managed to put together their magnum opus, the Porygon 2. It boasted a sleeker, more streamlined design that took full advantage of the Unreal Engine. They ran promotions and mass ad campaigns to garner interest, but their release was met with abysmal sales numbers. People still didn't trust the product. They all remember the Seizure incident that occurred during the first run of the Porygons. As Silphco contemplated pulling the plug on the project again, Porygon 2 suddenly started to gain momentum and eventually broke sales records due to good word of mouth. People loved the product, and Silphco reciprocated this goodwill by releasing a steady stream of patches to ensure that the Pokemon ran at optimal performance. Emboldened by this good fortune, the team immediately went to work on a sequel, and after 3 long years, they finally released Porygon Z. It wasn't as massive a success as their previous iteration, but it still sold well enough to warrant more sequels. Then Silphco started making new Porygons annually, adopting the smartphone strategy. Every release became huge global events, and they turned their products into a hip and fashionable lifestyle choice in the public conscience. Silphco even spawned an entire retro market where people sold and traded for older copies of Porygon. There's also a community that made modifications to the standard models to add new features and aesthetics. People just couldn't seem to get enough of Porygons, and Silphco was only happy to supply. I'm the dad you wish you had, and this has been another episode of Pokemon Phax. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more factual Pokemon facts. Have a wonderful Pokemon day.